What's up, guys? I'm finally back with another video. I didn't make a video for a few days. Been pretty busy and I've just been waiting to see what this market's going to do. And this right here is the QQQ nasdaq, and just look at this daily chart right here. You can see this back here was that crash in April, and then since then we have recovered and broken these previous all-time highs, and we've just been going basically just straight up in a slow grind, straight up. So how much further can this go before we pull back? That's the question. So, you know, I would not be loading up on long positions right now on anything on the NASDAQ just because of how this chart looks. We've already had, you know, a good bounce off of this 20 moving average, 20-day moving average right there. And then we basically went straight up off of that and came down and pretty much retested that 9 or 10 EMA. I can't remember if it's 9 or 10, but it's one of those. And then we consolidated right here, and then we had a nice push up and a rejection from around that 560 level. So, like I said in my previous videos, we're going to need a pullback at some time. The question is when. So you don't just start hammering big short positions on the NASDAQ when we're in an uptrend that's this strong. You just don't do that, because the market will always go a little bit higher than you thought, and then it'll just grind a little bit higher and a little bit higher. And a lot of people just automatically flip short, and then they get wrecked. And then once all those people get wrecked, then the market will finally do its pullback. So when will we pull back, and how deep of a pullback will it be? I'm not real sure. I don't expect a huge correction, but we do need some kind of pullback at some point. So let's go down to the 4-hour time frame, and you can see we had this spike up and then a rejection. And in my opinion, that's what I call a blow off top. So that's basically to liquidate all the people that just kept shorting, you know, grab that liquidity, and a lot of people taking profits also. So now we could start seeing some downside. So we really have to wait and see how this level where we're at right now holds up. And then if we break down a little bit, then we have to see how this level holds around like 550. But we had a big bearish candle here, a big wick on this candle so far at the top, and it looks like we might continue down. So I'm kind of hoping we go ahead and get this pullback in and get it over with, because we're going to need it at some point. So hop back to the daily, and I've got some drawings on here, so let me find these. All right, so this is kind of what I'm thinking, and this may not be right, but I'm at least expecting something like this. At least a pullback down here to this 549 or 550 level, and then we'll just have to see if that's enough. So we could come down to that level, and then we could just bounce right back up here and then continue sideways in a channel for a while. That's very possible. I mean, we could literally bounce around sideways back and forth in this range for the rest of the year. That's possible. But we just have to wait and see what it does. So that's the NASDAQ. And I'll hop into some other charts too to explain why I think that's a blow off top and why I think we're about to see some kind of pullback. So we could come all the way back down to around 550. You know, worst case scenario, we come back down around here to like 535, 540, something like that. That's possible. If we drop that low, I would expect a strong bounce. But I'm not sure how low to go. But let's hop into another chart. And I think this is also a good example of a blow off top. Robinhood stock. You can see here what we're doing today. It's just going insane. See, we had this rejection from this level. We came back up, broke that level, held it, and then exploded to the upside. So this could be what I call a blow off top. So that this could be that one last push before a pullback. So on Robinhood stock, we could see a price drop all the way down to like 85, 86, or we could just come back down to around 90 to 95 and then continue going. But that's definitely way into the overbought territory. You can see right here on the RSI, we've been overbought for a while. So this is a perfect example of why you can't be entering positions just based on one indicator like the RSI. Everybody who entered short positions or hammered puts back here got wrecked. Price kept going. And then we had this other peak on the RSI. People got wrecked because it just kept going. Then we had this other peak right here, and we went even higher. So, is the top finally going to be in for Robinhood temporarily? Will we finally see some type of little correction, pullback, and then continue up? All right, so I'm waiting to see that too. See if we can get a drop down to this level, flip around, and then continue going. That would be ideal for Robinhood. So another reason I think we're going to correct in the short term is NVIDIA. This is another example of what I think is a blow off top. NVIDIA, we've been overbought on the RSI on this daily time frame for a while. Ever since May, we've been overbought on the RSI. And we just had this final push up yesterday. So I think that's the blow off top. That's the final push before we drop back down, maybe bounce around, and then we have some type of little correction. It doesn't have to play out like this red arrow, but that's just an idea of what could happen. We could drop down here to around 158 and then continue going. We could drop all the way to 141, 142 or 145, 140 or 145. That's possible for NVIDIA. I don't know how likely that is, but it's possible. So all these stocks and the overall NASDAQ are going to have a pullback at some point. So if anybody's been FOMOing in to these stocks and crypto, I'm about to get to crypto too, within these last few days, just know that you could be sitting in the red for a little while in the near term. But I think we're going to continue to the upside for most of the rest of the year, but we may see that corrective wave first, so be prepared. All right, so let me go ahead and hop over to crypto. So this is the Bitcoin daily chart. Let's see what we got going on here. So this daily time frame on Bitcoin is just insane. We broke out above this 110,000 level, and we've just went straight up basically. And now we're forming this huge bull flag on the daily time frame. Let me hide some of these drawings real quick. All right, so this right here, as of right now, that's looking like a nice bull flag. We had this big wick here. I'm not too concerned about that just because this 120 to 125 level is where a lot of these people that's been holding their positions for the last couple of years who got in super early, that was a big profit target for some of those people. For a lot of those people, that was their first profit target, and then their next profit target is going to be up around 130 or 140, somewhere, something like that. So this was probably profit taking. We had this huge bounce off of this EMA right here. and then we're continuing up. Now, we have to really see how this daily candle here closes and then see what the following candle does. This candle could be an inside bar. I don't expect this candle for today to break yesterday's high right there. I'm just not expecting that. Now, tomorrow's candle could explode back up and continue this move. Or we could see a corrective wave and we could see more of a drop. That's very possible. So now let me go ahead and pull my drawings back up. So this little blue arrow that I've got here, this blue path, this is possible. But right now, Bitcoin's looking strong. So if we get above this white line and actually find support on that line and continue up and get above this level here where we dropped off from around 120, then we could go ahead and continue to the upside. But keep in mind, we could pull back, and we could pull back all the way to this fair value gap down here around 112, 113. That's possible. But as of right now, Bitcoin's looking pretty strong. So we may or may not even see that. So let's hop over to Ethereum. Ethereum is going crazy today. 32.58 right now at the time of making this video. And same thing, we could see a pullback from here. At some point, we're going to get a pullback. Same thing as last cycle. If you go back and look at this phase of the last cycle 4 years ago, we did the same thing. We were in this blue box, which I have drawn here. We were in this same exact area in the same phase on the last bull run. We came up here and bounced around in this little box, broke out, and had a really nice push up, hit a key level, which we're getting up close to, around 34, 3,500. We're getting close to a key level for Ethereum. And then the last cycle, we actually saw a pullback, and then we spent a little bit of time at this support. So we could come back down to the top of this blue box around 2,800, or we could come back down to this white line around 26 or 2,700. So just be prepared that all this stuff is going to pull back at some point. It's going to have a pullback and then continue up. We can't just keep going straight up just like this chart right here forever. It's going to have a breather, pull back, and then continue up. Now, we could always go higher than expected. So, trying to trade these moves and hop in and out, that's not the best thing to do. I've just been dollar cost averaging, buying dips, and just playing it safe, buying spot positions, no leverage trading. At this phase in the bull run, you should have really already been in positions and just be hanging on, waiting for Bitcoin to show clear signs of a top, which will most likely happen later this year, maybe third quarter, maybe fourth quarter. If this cycle ends up taking longer than expected, which it could, we could go into the beginning of next year, but you just got to wait and see. So Ethereum's just pumping like crazy, and we're going to have to pull back at some point. So let's hop over to Doge. Dogecoin pumping like crazy. It looks like it's about to make another good move here. We kind of have this bull flag right here on Doge setting up. So this could play out. And another thing, all of these meme coins, altcoins, look at this pattern we're forming right here. This is the left shoulder. This right here is the head. And this right here is the right shoulder. A huge inverse head and shoulders pattern. And just that pattern alone could take us to 25 cents on Doge. That's the next price target. If this pattern holds up, if we hold above this white line at 20 cents and continue moving, Doge will hit 25 cents very soon. So just be ready for that. Shiba Inu, same thing, looking strong. These coins most of the time will follow Ethereum. So if Ethereum's pumping, these coins won't be far behind. And you can see here, same thing, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So that would take it, Shiba Inu probably up to this white line, maybe a little higher. So we could actually be hitting 4 zeros, 1.5 or 1.7, somewhere around in there for Shiba Inu. So get ready. But if everything starts pulling back really quick, then just be ready, because Shiba Inu could drop all the way back down to somewhere like here, this fair value gap at 1.2, somewhere around in there. But if we get this huge move up first and we make it up here to this level, then we may only pull back to this bold white line at 1.425, somewhere around in there. That's possible. And my target over the next several weeks for Shiba Inu would be the yellow line up here around 403. For Doge, over the next several weeks, I expect 45 to 47 cents to be hit. And for Ethereum, over the next several weeks, I expect $4,000 to be hit. And Bitcoin, it's hard to say. It's in price discovery mode. But one of my main targets for Bitcoin is around 136,000. And I think we would see some kind of blow off top, maybe 140, 150, something like that. It's very possible. So we just got to keep checking on these charts and just seeing what kind of reactions we're getting at these levels. But right now, everything's looking really, really strong. Bitcoin right here just hit this level around 119, almost to 120. It's almost back up to 120. So let's see what it does. Bitcoin, I was expecting it to be an inside day, this to be an inside bar today, but it looks like it's trying to push. So let's see if it can break and keep going today. It's looking crazy. I hope everybody's still holding their crypto, because things are about to just get really crazy over these next couple of months for Bitcoin and all the altcoins. So another thing I want to show you real quick is the Bitcoin dominance chart. As you can see here, this lets us know that the altcoins are starting to outperform Bitcoin. So right now the Bitcoin dominance is down to 63%. So as soon as we get down below this red line I have here at 62%, and we start looking strong to the downside, by the time we get down here to around 55 to 57%, these altcoins are going to be going insane. And then we'll just slowly work our way down here to this orange box that I have here. And by that point, altcoins will be making everybody very, very happy. It's going to be insane. So this video ended up being pretty long, but I just wanted to cover a lot of stuff so that everybody's prepared. One more look at Nvidia. Nvidia is looking like it's going to pull back. It's topped out, had that blow off top. Robinhood starting to pull back a little bit. So this could be a top for Robinhood. It's looking like that's likely. So keep in mind, everything can and most likely will pull back. If this is not the actual pullback starting right now, we will have one in the near future. So just keep that in mind. So let's see what the Qs are doing right now. So it looks like the NASDAQ is still working on setting up this bear flag here. Still fighting with this level around 555, 556. So if we lose that level on the NASDAQ, which it looks very likely, we've got this shoulder head and shoulder pattern here, and it's kind of looking like a bear flag battling this level. So the Qs could drop down to 550 or 552, somewhere around in there. So that's what I'm looking for a trade today. And I'm just watching out, being careful. I'm not going to be taking any profits on crypto or nothing like that. I'm just going to let it ride. If we get a big pullback and we come all the way back down to a major level, I will be buying more and just continue buying it up on these dips, because these dips, these opportunities are about to be in the past. We're about to be pushing towards new all-time highs all across the board over these next couple of months. So hopefully you loaded up on crypto over these last couple of years, because there's going to be insane gains being made all across the board. You know, pretty much any coin you buy across the top 20, maybe even top 20, top 30 coins, any of those, if you bought them over these last couple of years, you're probably sitting pretty good in profits. So if you got any questions, comment below. This video was pretty long, but I hope I covered quite a bit of stuff that brought everybody some value. So comment if you got any questions, subscribe to the channel. I'll make another little short video probably tomorrow or the next day, just seeing if this pullback is starting or not. So subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with all my videos. Like the video, that'll help my channel out. I'm trying to grow this channel as much as possible, with the main part of this crypto bull run happening now. You know, we're taking off. The altcoins are about to be going crazy with alt season starting soon. I want to make sure these videos reach as many people as possible, so that maybe we can help people from FOMOing in at the worst times, and then maybe even help some people learn a few things so that they'll be able to take profits better at the right spots as we get closer and closer to the end of this bull run. So thanks for watching, and until next time, peace out.